Hello, everyone. Welcome to TitleSource 201 for TitleTales users. This is a follow-on to the first course, the TitleSource 101 course, which was the introductory course, which was designed to help you get a firm footing in using TitleSource. This one is a much shorter course, and it's just designed to cover a few things that we didn't get to in the first course. I didn't want to make the first course too overwhelming and cover too many things. So I hope you've had a chance to use TitleSource and use the things you learned in the first course and kind of get a little more settled with it. And then we'll build on that a little bit and add a few more things here. Add some things that you may or may not use, but it's good that you know what things are available to you. And so we're going to step through a couple of things here. And so I guess without further ado, we'll go ahead and do it. The first thing I wanted to do is go in and talk about some of the additional things you can do with carts. So if you click on the Carts tab and were to go in and look at your carts, we had talked in the previous session about how you can filter carts and do all that with these, but we didn't talk about all of the functions that you have here and the things that you can do using this drop-down box, this select function box, and different things you can do to a cart. One of the things you might want to do is send a cart to a different person who's on TitleSource, a different user ID in TitleSource. The way that you would do that is you would click Transfer and click Go. And when you do that, you're going to get a list of the other user IDs that are available in your library. So you could choose a name and click Add, and their name will show up over here on the right-hand side in this list. You could add more than one. If you added one by mistake, you could click on it and click Delete, and it will move it back to the list on the left. When you've assembled the list you want over here on the right, normally, and most of the time, you're only going to transfer a cart to one person. So you would usually just have one name over here in the To column. You would then come down here and choose whether or not you want to keep a copy of your cart. You could uncheck this or leave it checked and click Transfer. Now, there is a reason. There's actually some ramifications behind the keep a copy of my cart checkbox. Normally, you think you want to keep a copy of it, but there might be some reasons why you don't want to keep a copy of it. And you might want to work this out depending on the workflows of your library. You might want to talk to your sales consultant or your eBiz manager and kind of discuss the workflows you use in your library. In a lot of libraries, if there is one person who does the ordering, what we do in a lot of places, but with several people who do selection, what I found works for a lot of libraries is the people who do the selection, when they're done, when they have completed a cart and they're ready to have it ordered, they transfer the cart to the person who does selection. They do not keep a copy of it. And then when the person has ordered it, the acquisitions person has ordered it, they then transfer it back to the selector as sort of a way of letting them know, hey, I have gone ahead and ordered the cart for you. The reason you don't want to keep a copy of it is there's a couple of reasons. A lot of times, if you keep a copy of the cart and send it to someone else, first off, now you're going to have two distinct copies of the cart. If someone makes a change to that cart, now you're going to have two copies of one cart that aren't going to be exactly the same. Also, if you have a lot of copies of it, it may get a little bit confusing during duplicate checking. Remember that when a title is added to a cart, that title, that ISBN, is checked against all of the carts in all of the user IDs to see if it's a duplicate. Well, if you have two carts, if you have transferred your cart to someone else and it has the same name, it's the same cart, but two different people have it, and someone else is adding that title to a cart and finds a duplicate, it will find it in both carts. So that person may get a little bit confused because they'll see two duplicates, when in fact there really is just one. So usually you don't actually want to keep the copy of your cart, depending on the situation. You would uncheck that box and click transfer the cart to someone else, and then they would just transfer it right back to you. And that's sort of a nice workflow way of letting people know that it's ready, the cart's ready to be ordered, or the cart has been ordered. And then when you click transfer, it will go ahead and send the cart over to that person. I'm going to go ahead and do a cancel here. I don't want to actually send this over to anyone, but that's what would happen. When a cart is sent to you, it will give you a message and let you know that this cart was transferred to you. And let me see if I can find one here. You can see this cart was transferred to me, and it has a note down here. This cart was sent to me by Scott Thurlow Master, who's actually someone in our company. And he's one of the people who often transfers carts to people who subscribe to lists from us. For instance, this DVD list, you can see I have another one here for music CDs. He transfers some carts to me once a month. He's in our collection development group, and so he transfers some carts to me that have music CDs and DVDs in them. So that's what it would look like when it shows up. So that's transferring a cart. The next thing I wanted to show you was merging a cart. So I have two carts here. I have this fiction cart and I have this picture books cart. Now, let's just say I have these two carts and I really want to put them together and only want one cart. I want to merge them together. What I do is I come into this drop-down box and I choose the merge function, and I choose it on the cart that I want to be left with. All right, so since I'm going to be pushing two carts together, one of them is going to survive and one of them won't. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this picture books cart and I'm going to smush it into the fiction cart. So I'm going to choose merge on this cart and I'm going to click go. And it's going to come up with a list of all of the carts that I have available to me to merge. Now, because I am so bad about deleting old carts in my user ID, I have a ton of them here. And I should do a better job of deleting carts. But what this first checkbox says, I have two checkboxes here, and I just check both of them, and if I come back up, I can show you what they say. The first one says merge, so I have chosen that cart to merge into this one, and I've also chosen to delete that cart after merging it. So that's what those two checkboxes say. I've chosen to merge that cart, and I've chosen to delete it after I'm done. I could choose more carts. I could choose as many as I want and merge them all together. But in this case, I'm just going to choose that one. When I'm done, I'm going to come in and click merge. Title Source has merged that fiction cart and the picture book cart together, and notice the picture book cart is gone. It has been deleted, but in my fiction cart now, where I had only one title, and my picture book cart had 11, I now have 12. So all of the titles have been merged together. Okay, so that's how you merge carts. Pretty simple and straightforward process. I can come in and also run reports. And there's kind of two different ways of getting printouts or reports and whatnot on a cart. And if you need this kind of thing, it's best to kind of play with the different ones and find the one that works best for you. If you go into a cart, you could always choose print cart up here in the upper right-hand side in this blue button. And this will give me a printout that will let me, do a printout where I get kind of a few lines about each title. And I could print out that information about this card. I can make it bigger here and show you what it would look like if I printed it. So for a lot of people, that's exactly what they're looking for. So if that's what you need, you can get that simply by going into print card. But there are other options available to you if that's not what you need, if you're looking for something else. You can come into this drop-down box and you can go into reports and then click go. You always have to remember to click go after you choose something in that drop-down box. I can't tell you how many times I've chosen something in that drop-down box and forgot to click go, and I've stared at the screen for a few seconds. Then I have a number of different report types here. I can choose which report type I want from this drop-down list, and what you really need to do is just play around and find the ones you want. For instance, we have a slip report here for people who want little 3x5 slips, and I could choose that. I then choose what kind of output I want. I have a couple different choices. You know, usually the PDF format is the one you want. The Excel and the Word for this kind of one are not going to work. And then I also can choose how I want it sorted, whether I want it in chronological order, by author and artist, binding, format, title, however I want it sorted. And then I can click Process Report. And in this case, what's going to happen is I'm going to get a PDF file that I could then save, and this is, which I can then open. And what this will do is this gives me a file that I could then display and print off, which is going to show me 3x5 slips that I could also print off if you use 3x5 slips. I can also choose other reports, and there's a whole slew of them in here. You can choose which ones and kind of go through them one at a time and see the different reports that are available, play around with them, and find which ones you want. So those are all available for you also. The next thing I wanted to talk about was deleting carts and how appropriate is that? Certainly I need to delete carts. Now, this is really good for me because I really need to delete carts. I have if you notice, I have 5 pages of carts here. And a lot of these are really old and need to be deleted. Now, there's 2 different ways of deleting carts. You can, if you just have one cart you want to delete, you can come in here and choose delete. And a little piece of background, we used to have this list sorted alphabetically, and delete was kind of high up, and it was right next to download. And people who wanted to download a cart were actually accidentally choosing delete and deleting carts accidentally. So we resorted those lists and moved it all the way down to the bottom where it would be hard to hit accidentally. So now you can hit delete and you can click go, and you get the "Are you sure you want to do this?" message. And when you click OK, that cart is going to disappear. Now, if you have a lot of carts to delete, like yours truly, you can click this little checkbox on the ones you want to delete. All right, so maybe I want to delete those, or maybe I want to save a few of these, so maybe I want to skip some. And I could go through and click a bunch of check marks and see which ones I want to get rid of and go through this list. And maybe these I want to save, maybe that one I want to delete. And so I can continue on, and what I can do is I can go up to the very top of the list, up to the top of the page, and I have this little box over here for multiple cart functions, and right now there's only one function I can do for more than one cart at a time, and that is delete. So I choose that, I choose delete, and I click go. Are you sure you want to get rid of those 15 carts? Yes, I am, and they are gone. Okay, so that's the other way to delete multiple carts in one fell swoop. There's one other function in here that I wanted to talk about. Well, there's a couple other that you can play with. You can do a copy and click go. And what this will do is you could create a brand new cart name. You could type in the name of a cart here, and it will just create another cart with all the same titles in it and all the same information in it, just with a different name. The cart summary, if I come in here, it just is going to kind of give me a summary of what's in the cart. Pretty simple thing. If I use grids, this becomes much fuller. I have a lot more information in here. It'll give me summaries by, I'll be able to look at the summary, how much money we're spending per branch, or by fund code, or by location, or, all sorts of different information. So the cart summary makes more sense when you're using grids. Mass maintenance is a way to do something to every title in the cart in one fell swoop. All right, it's en masse. So if I go into mass maintenance, and actually, since this particular part I happen to choose has got no titles in it, and it's probably a bad one to choose, but let me go back to the first page and let me find where was the, well, let me go into this cart here. Yeah, this is a cart we can use for mass maintenance. So I could come into this cart and click go, and I have some options here. I could set all the quantities to a single value. So I could type in the number 1 here, and it will change every quantity in the cart to 1. So every title will have a quantity of 1. I could add a note to every title in the cart, and I could choose to replace all of the notes. If there are notes in there already, I could choose to replace them, or I could choose to append them to any notes that are in there. Remove all import titles. If there happen to be titles in there from the UK, those are titles. You may see titles that have a little British Union Jack on them, and those are titles that are imports from the UK. You could click this, and down on the bottom, when you click update, it will remove any titles that are import titles. It's pretty rare that you'll have any in the cart, but that's one way to get rid of them if you have them in there. Remove all titles with a 0 quantity. This can be very handy if you're getting some lists from us. When we send a list to you, we're going to send a list to you with all of the titles. We'll have a 0 quantity to start. These will be any of the notification type lists that we send to you. So all of the titles will have a 0 quantity. So what you can do, and matter of fact, that first cart was a handy way to show you. So this is a cart. Now that has, let me use this one. This one has 24 titles in it. So I could come into this cart and put in one at a time. I could go in and put in quantities for the ones I want. I could then skip putting in a quantity for the ones I don't want. And so a bunch of the titles will have a 0 quantity because those are the ones I don't want. The ones I do want to buy will have a quantity. So when I'm all done, I don't have to worry about, as I'm going through this, I don't have to worry about deleting out the titles I don't want. I just leave them with a 0 quantity. When I'm done, let me, let's go in. Actually, let me do it this way. Let me come in. Since that's a gridded cart, I really don't want to do it on a cart with grids. So I'm going to take this I'm going to show you two options in mass maintenance. All right, so I'm going to come into this work test cart, and I'm going to set all quantities to 0 to start, and click OK. All right, so now all the quantities are set to 0. So this could be a cart that was delivered to me for me as a review cart, as a notification cart. So I could come into it, and as I was going through, I could say, well, let's say I don't want that, and I want 2 of those, and I want 1 of those, and I don't want that, and I want 3 of that, and I want 1 of that, but I don't want that, and I don't want that, and I want 1 of those, and I don't want that, I want 1 of those. All right, and then I can go at the top of the page or the bottom page. I have this Update Page button. So when I click Update Page, it's going to accept all the quantities I just put in. All right, so there's 33 titles in this cart, only 9 total quantity, and that's because a whole bunch of these titles still have a 0 quantity. This title still has a 0 quantity, but this one has a 2. Okay, so I went through, I put in a quantity, clicked Update Page. All right, so now I can go back to the Carts tab, and in this drop-down box, I can go to Mass Maintenance and click Go and choose to remove all titles with a 0 quantity and click Update. And what I'm left with are the 6 titles that I had put in a quantity for. All of the titles that still had a 0 for the quantity have been removed. So it's a real quick way of getting everything thrown out that has no quantity. Okay, so those are some of the things you can do in mass maintenance. Mass maintenance, there's some neat things to do, but it will do things to every title in the cart all at once. It does things to the entire cart. Download. If you do, this is for downloading a cart into your ILS system. In other words, for getting a file of MARC records. This could be, in most cases, this is because you're using the acquisitions module in your ILS system, and you're probably ordering by EDI from us. So you would click Download and click Go. You're going to have a choice of doing a MARC download or a file download. Very few libraries ever do a file download. This is a way to get a spreadsheet, an Excel spreadsheet of the items in your cart. A MARC download gets you a MARC download, and the options you're going to have in this drop-down box will be dependent on your library. This will configure this for you, for your library specifically, and what this will say will be for your library. And then you'll go ahead and click Download, and what the best way to do it, you actually have 2 options. One is you can click on this line, and you'll be able to see what the MARC record looks like, or you could right-click on this line and download the file to your hard drive, and then you would switch over to your ILS system and upload that file into your ILS system. So if I click on this, I can actually see what the MARC record is going to look like for this particular title. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and close that. Now, there is one other option called One-Click MARC, and it's very similar to the download function. Some of you may choose to use this, and there's a couple of uses for it. First off, if you're on a III system and you have the quick click feature in III, this function is sort of the other half of it. This feeds MARC records into the III quick click feature. This is something we'll work with you and we'll get it working. It's a really cool feature, and I think it'll streamline your workflows a lot. If you are not on a III system, though, this can be a handy thing. This will FTP the file of MARC records to some place. The places where this tends to be especially helpful is if you are on a shared system where there are many libraries, 5, 10, 15 libraries or more on a shared ILS system, and you need to get your MARC records over to the system, and someone in the system does the uploading for you. This is a way where we can FTP the file of MARC records to them. So we'll be happy to talk to you in more detail about this if you think it is something that could help you. Okay, so that's pretty much it for all the additional features that are available for you on in the Carts tab. There are some other things, though, that I wanted to cover. One of them is this batch entry function right here. And what this is for is if you have a list of ISBNs and you already know what they are, and you just want to enter them and you want to enter them quickly, this is a way where you can enter ISBNs just really fast. So I want to go ahead and I'm going to create a new cart, and I'm going to call it a batch entry cart just so we know what it is. And I'm going to go ahead and create my cart. And what this does is it allows me to enter ISBNs kind of rapid fire using my using my keyboard. So I could just go ahead and enter ISBNs 978, and I used to have ISBNs memorized, and of course I don't anymore. And I can hit the tab key, put in a quantity, hit the tab key, plug in my next ISBN. You can do a 10-digit ISBN or a 13-digit ISBN, and you can just go on and on, and just keep entering ISBNs. I'm just going to enter that one, but you get the idea. You just keep ISBN tab, hit quantity tab, ISBN tab, and so you can just kind of power your way through a list pretty quick. When you're done, you can hit this little quick check button, and what this is going to do is it's going to check your ISBNs to verify that they're proper. This ISBN failed the check digit verification, and that's because I just made it up. So it's not a proper ISBN. You would have to come back and fix it. If it were a good ISBN, it would have a green check mark, and if you hovered over the green check mark, it will tell you the title. It will tell you what the ISBN is. So I would have to come in, fix this ISBN, put in a valid ISBN, and then when I click save, it would save it into this cart, into my batch entry cart, and it also reminds me up here what the name is of the cart. And then once I click save, it will also up here tell me what my last ISBN was that I entered, and give me a clean screen, and I could just go and start entering them again. And start entering more. If I had more than 20, I could just enter more. If you use grids, the screen will look different if you're entering into a gridded cart, but it's the same basic idea. There is also this batch import function. This is something that's very, very rare, and I'm not even going to really show you exactly how to use it because it's rare that you need it, but I think it's good that you know that it exists. This is if you have a file of ISBNs. Maybe you have a text file of ISBNs and you want to upload them and create a card out of them. We have a way where TitleSource can go out and get this file of MARC records and pull them up and create a card out of the file. So that's what batch import does. So it's all right there. So that's it for batch entry and batch import. Kind of along the lines of this function that's here that you'll probably never need, but I just kind of want to let you know that it exists. This is a function called original entry, and it's probably not showing up in your screen. If you need it, You can call us and we'll talk to you about it and we'll get it set up for you. Original entry is something that's used when you want to add titles to a cart, and they're titles that we don't have in our database. Normally, to add a title to a cart, it has to be something we know about, right? If you enter an ISBN and want to add it to a cart, it has to be something we have in our database. We have the ability to add things for you to put in information such as a title and an author and as much information as you have, and put that item into a cart. Now, obviously you won't be able to order it from us, but it may be something that will make it easier for you to do the rest of your workflows. We have some libraries, especially places, large libraries that order or that do a lot of foreign language material that maybe we don't carry, but that they want to use the same kind of workflows that they have with us for downloading into their ILS system. So we have this whole process built where they can go ahead and enter as much information as possible, as much information as they have. It'll go into the cart. They can still download it into the ILS. They can still do grids. There's all sorts of functions still that are available to them. Of course, they just can't order it because we don't know what the item is. It's not in our database. So if you ever want to talk more about that, we'd be happy to. There is also a function available to you up here called Search History. And if you click on this, this is going to be a list of all of the last searches that you have performed, and it's definitely something that's kind of cryptic. But if you kind of look at it, it'll kind of tell you what the search was, and you can actually perform it again. So if there was a search you did a couple of days ago, and you just don't kind of really remember what it was, you can come in here and find it. And KWTI is keywords for the title. So you can see that I did a title search with keywords for awesome and autumn. And you'll remember that we actually did a title keyword search for awesome autumn in Title Search 101. So this is just a way where it kind of shows you in a fairly cryptic way different searches that you did, what date and time you did them, and it lets me go in and redo a search. So if I click on it, it will do that same exact search and find the same results. So I can click it, and it'll perform the same search all over again for me. So that's there. It's something you might find some use for at some point. Another thing that is it's definitely a more advanced thing. When you come in and want to do a search, you may be kind of curious about the different values that are in one of these fields that you're searching against. You might want to wonder, what are the different BISAC subjects or different publishers or that kind of thing. So we actually show that to you. So you can come in under indices, and so all of the different parts of title source that are indexed are shown in the indices section. So I can come in here and I can go look at BISAC subjects and say find, and it's going to show me, actually I just do BISAC subjects, and it shows them to me here, and it shows me Antiques and Collectibles Americana. There are 562 titles in title source that have that BISAC subject on it. And if I wanted to find a particular word, I could come in here and do a find. For instance, I see that clocks is one of the words. So if I put in clocks, I would do that, and it's going to go find, why did it find that one? So it's found comics and graphic novels anthologies. Oh, I know why it got it. It was searching the first word for clocks, and it found it didn't find clocks in the first word, so it stopped the comics because it couldn't find clocks. That's why it stopped here. So anyway, that's indices. I can come in and see the different strings that are available under bisect subjects or under the different indices. This can come in handy every once in a while. One other thing I want to show you is reviews. If I want to see a particular, all of the items that were reviewed in a particular journal, I can come in here and choose a particular review source and choose a particular issue and just click. I could click multiple ones if I want. I could, choose whatever I want. Although I would tend to caution you against clicking multiple issues here. And the reason is this will tend to give you a lot of hits. And if you click multiple issues here, it just means you're going to get a lot of hits. So if I click PW Reviews 2002, September number 3, and I come down and say display titles from selected reviews, what it's going to do is show me every title that had a full text review from that journal. So it's sort of a way to recreate everything that was in that journal. But see, I have 195 titles. So the reason I was suggesting you don't click multiple items is that if you do click multiple items, if I click 2 different issues of PW and 3 issues of SLJ, I might end up with 500 or 600 titles here, and that's way more than I need. So that's one way to come in and find an issue of a journal. So I can come in here and choose reviews and scroll down until I get to SLJ and pick, come on, let me click on it and pick SLJ and display titles and there I am, get my item, get my titles and go from there. So, so that's reviews. That really covers about everything I wanted to cover, for today. In our Title Source 201 session, there are a couple more sessions to come. I want to record one on preferences, grids, sharing carts. So there's more to come. So stay tuned to this channel and watch for more training sessions, more training videos. Thank you very much.